Hey guys, SoCal Val here. You are listening to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast.
Very good, guys. Were the Australian fans shortchanged, or have WWE set up one of the best WrestleManias of all time? Welcome back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle channel. I'm your host, Andy Burrows, and we are here to review the WWE Elimination Chamber 2024. As you can see, I'm joined by my illustrious co-host, Mr. Adam Cousins. Started a new week. How are you, sir?
No, it's Monday and it's fucking windy. That's about as good as it.
Yeah, won't be surprised. It's windy and cold over here in jolly old England. But Adam, we have a returning guest, and I've said this many, many times, and I will never get bored of saying it. Probably the reason that I'm sitting here doing a wrestling podcast here is this gentleman here, along with another gentleman who does Wrestling Uncensored with Dave Simon. But we are very honoured to have Mr. Johnny North, all the way from Wrestling Uncensored, join us to break down the Elimination Chamber. Johnny, how are you, brother? Always good to see you, my friend.
Oh, always an honor, Andy and Adam, just to be on your show. It's always a pleasure. And I'm kind of glad we're kind of making this like a yearly tradition now. I'm doing the Elimination Chamber review show for you guys.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Good to have you back. We'll keep this going. So next year we're booking you already. You're in. You're in for Elimination.
Awesome. Awesome.
Before we get into it and break down the matches, Johnny, did the Australian fans get shortchanged? That's all I've seen all over social media. People were tweeting out during the event. I've spoken to a few people that actually went to the event. It seems that the feedback from people that were there, that from watching it on the TV, very different. What do you think? I mean, this was always for me going to be a set-up pay-per-view. It was good that they took WWE to Australia. I like the fact they've done that. There were 50,000 people in an amazing stadium. I know some people that have gone there before to watch cricket, and I know how good that stadium is. In your opinion, Mr. North, did the Australian public get shortchanged by WWE?
Different ways you can kind of look at it in that sense, like shortchanged in the sense that the event that we thought we were going to get, or they thought they were going to get going into this, possibly, because it felt like there was some matches dropped, and it felt like they didn't replace those matches with anything else. They just gave us less. So I could see them being shortchanged in that sense. But when was the last time Australia had a PLE? I feel like Super Showdown was the last one. That was like years. That was Undertaker and Triple H. So that shows you how long ago that was. So in the sense that they finally got a big event, this is the biggest event I think they've ever had. I don't think they got shortchanged in the sense that they still got a premium live event that was still high quality, just not what they probably should have got in the end due to unfortunate circumstances with injuries and allegations.
Yeah, definitely. Adam, it was meant to be, obviously CM Punk was meant to be on the card. We were meant to get Cody versus Drew allegedly. There was going to be so many matches that we were meant to get. Did the WWE make best of the hand they've kind of been dealt? I mean, in my opinion, they should have flown Roman Reigns over. He should have been there. In my opinion, for the Australian public, just to bring him out, he could have done something. I'd rather that. We'll get to it soon, but that Grayson Waller effect was quite possibly one of the worst segments I've seen in wrestling. What a waste of absolute time. Between that and the next match, I think it was like 45 minutes between that. But Adam, before we break down the matches, what was your opinion overall of Elimination Chamber? Me and you sat here this time last week, and we were talking, we've been here before with Puerto Rico, and that delivered. I wasn't disappointed. I wasn't ecstatic about this. The best thing was that I got to watch it at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I got to see all our American friends moaning that it was 5 a.m. How dare you? Oh, Johnny's Canadian, so let's not. I don't want to tarnish him with the American brush. But a lot of people moaned. How dare I have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning? Yeah, geez. It was nice not to watch a pay-per-view at 1 a.m. and go straight to work. Adam, what did you make of it, bro?
Yeah, look, predictable, but as you say, we knew it. You kind of you saw the card before the show, and you're like, okay, you knew where you were going with it. As you say, run it through the list. Roman not there, Rock not there, Cody there, didn't compete, Seth there, injured, Gunther no, not there, Visa, Lesnar,
Lesnar. Yeah, I mean,
Guilty by assassination, as we called it the other day, or association, not
yeah, I
assassination.
mean, CM Punk was meant to win the men's.
Punk, yeah.
Cody was meant to face Drew, so it's all changed literally in the last month. We know that, but let's break it down then. It started off with the women's elimination chamber match. The first, no great surprise, Becky Lynch picking up the win. Now going on to WrestleMania to face Rhea Ripley. Adam, I come to you, bro. What did you make of the match? For me, predictable. It was a good match. Probably one of the best matches of the night. I'm going to say I enjoyed the men's. Probably enjoyed the women's a little bit more. But again, very, very easy to predict. But I enjoyed the match. Yeah,
as you say, predictable enough. But yeah, it was a nice, good start. Anyway, the women's generally start this. If it's not a chamber, it's the Rumble. It normally kicks a show. So no, very good. For the most part, anyway. Interesting one. I think this is like Liv Morgan's fifth chamber, and it's the fifth time she's come runner-up or something along those lines, or one of the last.
And now they're I've seen everything over social media. They've done the "We Want Liv" now. The hashtag "We Want Cody," "We Want Liv." I think the general public seem to think they can take over WWE. I don't. Johnny, what did you make of the women's elimination chamber, my friend? Right, girl one. Are you excited to see Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania?
Well, before we get to that, we're going to also talk about the kickoff show. Did you watch that? The match on that show, on the kickoff?
I was busy making a morning cup of tea and some cereal, so no.
So I actually got up at 4:30 in the morning to watch that. It's like I was excited for this. Like I was actually happy for early morning wrestling premium live event. Unlike many people in North America who aren't happy waking up early, I'm like, no, this is a great way to start my day. Just watching wrestling. This is fantastic. And for the most part, I enjoy the Elimination Chamber. And yes, Becky, it's very predictable that she was going to win. But I had no problem with that as long as the action was good. And I thought the effort was there. They put in a lot of great spots in this match. Very sloppy at some points, though. And that's why I probably prefer the men's more, because the men's, it felt like it was more of a story, but it was coherent. And they made the most of their time, where the women, it felt like they were just trying to do all the crazy moments of the match. And some of them were good. Like, I thought Tiffany Stratton was fantastic.
She come across as really well.
Amazing. Like, she made the most of her time in there, and she really showcased herself. That swanton she did off the top of one of the pods, one of the best moments of the whole show, without question.
Agreed.
But then there's some moments where you're like, it looked kind of rough. Like, I don't know what happened there with Naomi, where she did like some sort of like blockbuster thing off, I think the pod, and then gave it to Liv, and then she gets up, and then she goes down, and then Stratton pins her. That was very what the heck right there, and that's the first elimination. Like, not even everyone's in there already, so that was kind of weird. And it felt like after Tiffany got eliminated, it just felt like the momentum died, which is very weird. I thought this was kind of not booked well, in the sense you had 5 baby faces and 1 heel. And it didn't work at all, because the audience were cheering the heel, which made sense, because if you saw the press conference event they did, they were all making fun of Tiffany. So I thought there was more sympathy on her, because everyone was picking on her so much. So I just thought, booking wise, they put all the big stars in a sense, but it didn't gel as well as it could have.
Did it surprise you? Oh, again, this was hindered by, even though she's on a great road to recovery, by the way, if you've seen her Instagram, Charlotte Flair obviously not being there. Again, this comes back to probably the main event at Mania having to be switched. Unfortunately, this seems to happen quite a lot as we build up to Mania over the last few years. Like, main events are having to get switched. How much did that play a factor into? Have they not panicked? Probably the wrong word, but have they just gone, let's go safe and put Becky in the main event? And do you think she's going to win? Because I was speaking to someone yesterday. I was at Apex Wrestling yesterday, and we were backstage just talking wrestling as you do. And a lot of the guys there were hoping that Rhea retains and Becky doesn't win, because they don't want to see the. I think she's lost a little bit of the whole match. She was. We're going to get onto LA Knight later, but Becky Lynch, me and you spoke about it, Adam. She was getting Stone Cold Steve Austin kind of pops about 18, 19 months ago. Now here we are, and I'm kind of like, yeah, it'll be an okay match, but I'm not really like on the edge of my seat excited for Becky Lynch versus Rhea. Will there be a curveball between now and then, do you think?
No, I don't think so. But I'm just trying to think if Becky was the last time Becky Lynch won a title, did she have to relinquish it to become a mother, or did she win it when she come back? I can't remember.
She won it at Mania.
3 seconds.
Yeah, 3 seconds.
She did.
Yeah, really.
SummerSlam, wasn't it?
Yeah, SummerSlam. Sorry, yeah, she won it there real quick, and then she was in the match with obviously the main event that was on at like midnight with Ronda Rousey, Charlotte, and her, and
Yeah.
no one quite knew the end. Like she won, but no one quite knew what had happened. Next thing, yes,
Yeah, I don't think
Ronda
they've
Rousey was
changed the
tapping out.
plans. I don't think they've changed plans. I think Becky was always going to be the one on the Raw side. We always have to remember there is a draft.
No.
Not that it ever gets adhered to, but there is a draft, and so there would have been a SmackDown title as well. So perhaps Charlotte would have been in that mix. I don't think they've swapped it for Becky. I think Becky's always been the plan. Maybe the Royal Rumble winner might have slightly changed to Bayley. I don't know, but I'm not necessarily overly excited for it. I'd prefer Rhea. I don't know. That's a weird one though, isn't it? Because Rhea's title reign hasn't exactly been great,
It's been
but
crap.
yeah, would Becky's be any better at the moment? I don't know. Maybe Stratton's on SmackDown, isn't she? So that's
Yeah.
kind of rules that one out for now. Don't know. Maybe some more people need to get called up from NXT, or new ones need to come in, because I think it just needs a complete refresh, really. Because I'm not really excited about that. I'm not really excited about either of them retaining, really.
Johnny, where are you sitting with the women's division at the minute? Like I say, 18, 19 months ago, Becky was getting stone cold Steve Austin pops. We had Ronda Rousey, and her hype lasted all of a year, and then she was getting booed out the building. Now she's on some little two bob. I don't know what she's doing now, wrestling on the Indies and AEW here and there, Ring of Honor. Charlotte Flair's obviously coming back from injury. You've got Naomi coming obviously between TNA, WWE. Me and Adam, we talk about this all the time. It seems something missing from the women's division for whatever reason. I can't put my finger on it. How are you seeing the women's division as we shape up towards WrestleMania?
Well, I agree a lot with Adam, where I feel like this was always the plan. I think Becky Rhea was always for Raw, and I think Bayley Io was always the plan too, because they had planned the series for that for so long. I just feel it should have been the opposite way. It should have been Becky won the Rumble, because they had them hyping this match before she even won the Chamber. Yet, clearly she would wait for the Chamber because they had to do the thing where Bayley never won the Rumble, Becky never won a Chamber, so everyone has to win everything. So that had to happen. But I felt for the story, it kind of was messy a bit when they did that. And I felt that Charlotte, she didn't need to be in the title match. I think her and Bianca, that would have been the match, I think, because you don't need a title for that. It's just the fact that Bianca's never lost at WrestleMania. She's the one up and coming. Charlotte, she's pretty much the person, like the woman of the women's division in a sense. She's the biggest name. So I thought that was going to be the match. Now it feels like everything's a mess. It feels like, what is Bianca going to do now? I would feel tag titles, but with who? It feels like Naomi, Liv, Jade, anything could happen. It feels like it's just a mess in terms of the women's division. You have those two matches, everything else is completely up in the air, and there's a lot of them too. How many matches can you give to the women for 2 nights?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I'm struggling to think what some of them do now. As we've got 8 weeks to build towards WrestleMania. It's going to be and the thing is, it's going to be like Johnny just a lot of it's going to be meaningless. It's going to be like, well, we care. It's just some tag match or three on three. You've just done this because you've got 2 nights to fill. I mean, the women's division, Lita, Stratus, Charlotte, Becky, it used to mean something. It used to get people hyped. And they've gone from, I think I mentioned this to a couple of weeks ago, they've gone from having their own pay-per-view to where we are now. And I think they've put so much focus, and Adam, we mentioned it last week, and even I'm saying we're so focused on the bloodline and that story, and we said it last week, everything else has kind of been like, okay, look, we'll do it, but we know what everyone really wants. We know why we're all watching WrestleMania. As they can give us, they'll bring back people. Who's to say that Stone Cold Steve Austin won't be there? They've got 2 nights to fill. There'll be an element of surprise where we're like, wow, that's cool. But let's not kid ourselves here. We're all tuning into WrestleMania for one thing. Everything else will just kind of be like, okay. Maybe Gunther, it'd be interesting to see what he does. Everything else in the WWE right now is kind of going by the by. Johnny, I don't know if you heard our show last week. Me and Adam were talking about it. Do you kind of feel like that before we get into the rest of the Elimination Chamber card? With WWE right now, don't get me wrong, I'm always going to be a WWE guy. I have been since the age of 5, always will be. But me and Adam said last week that everything else outside the Bloodline storyline, even including Seth now, I mean, I'm not really interested for, it'll be okay. It'll be a good-ish match. But how are you seeing it outside of the Bloodline? Is it still getting you excited to tune into WrestleMania? It's WrestleMania. We're all going to watch, and it probably will deliver. But is it getting you as excited as it has in years gone by?
Well, I imagine you both have friends that are going to WrestleMania, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I do. Yeah, I know a few people going.
You too.
And are they more happy or less happy now because of the way things are shaping up? I mean, I know some people, for me anyways, are actually less happy that they're just getting the rematch from last year's WrestleMania. They wanted something different. It didn't need to be Roman and Rock, but not Cody Roman again. They just feel like, oh, they're just repeating it again. And in the mid-card, you're completely right. What's there really intriguing in the mid-card? It feels like nothing's happening. There's a bunch of players involved, but no match where it's like, oh, I'm dying to see that match. There's no match that's really like, I got to see that. There's just a rematch. That's it for WrestleMania. And that's kind of disappointing. I think Becky, Rhea, that's a match I think people want to see because it does feel like, oh, it could go either way. So that's very interesting. But everything else, I feel they really dropped the ball on Shayna Baszler, where you talk about Ronda and like she was one of the top women's wrestlers and she left, but they gave that to Baszler. Baszler put her out and they did nothing with that. Trish Stratus was around putting people over, making Becky into a star and kind of passed it to Zoe a bit too. And they did nothing with that. A lot of things they just haven't capitalized on. And it's unfortunate with some things, injuries happen, but I just feel like they had stories, they didn't work out and they just drop them. And now it feels like for Mania, it's just, well, in the next couple of weeks, we'll give you something put together. I'm hoping for Gunther, we get him and Gable, to be honest, because that was the best thing that Gunther has done, I feel, in his whole reign.
If that is the case, Gunther will retain. He won't drop the title.
Yeah, sure, but I'm just thinking the best match.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about the banging matches that they've had on Raw. Me and Adam were like 10 out of 10 for me. They should have main evented some. They were that little mini feud they had. For me, it's been, I know we're only in February, it's probably been the best feud so far outside of what's going on with the Bloodline and everything like that. It's the one that you've gone, wow. It's an actual, when you watch it and you go, I'm going to sound really old fashioned now. You're like, that was a good wrestling match. And it was. I don't want to say his name on here too much, but Chris Benoit-esque, when you watched him wrestle, it was a good wrestling match. You saw him and Brett do an hour-long tribute to Owen Hart. Wow. When I watched Gable and Gunther, I was like, incredible. Some of the stuff you was like, this is what I call a wrestling match. And it's kind of why, a lot of people are more interested in the entertainment side of it now. And I get it. Wrestling kind of sounds weird to sound a wrestling podcast. Wrestling takes a back seat a lot of time in WWE. But yeah, I'm with you. Adam, and something else, the Judgment Day defeated New Catch Republic. Is that right? Did I get it right? Yeah, that's the name they've been given. Again, for me, it was a good match. I enjoyed it, but like Johnny said at the start, it was very much predictable. But I enjoyed the match. They gave me, and they've done what wrestling does really well. They gave me a little glimmer. I was like, oh, maybe they are. There was a few near counts, a few close pinfalls, but I enjoyed the match. Obviously, Dom getting the heat and getting booted out and blah, blah, blah. Again, where do we go now, Adam, with the tag team titles as we head into 8 weeks worth of build for WrestleMania? We've still got a briefcase to cash in as well, which we'll get to. We spoke about already. But Adam, what did you make of the tag team match at Elimination Chamber? And what in the name of God are we doing with the tag team titles for the next 8 weeks? Who's challenging for?
Wish you hadn't asked me that question, to be fair.
Yeah, but yeah.
So, hey ho, I enjoyed the match. There's 4 guys there that can go. That's the best part. I mean, New Catch Republic or whatever they're called, Dunn and Tyler Bate, great.
Mm-hmm.
But we've all followed their careers over here, so we know how good they are. Finn's always a great hand. Priest I think the momentum's gone a bit.
We said I think the Judgment Day momentum's gone. I think he's died a slow death.
Yeah, and you can kind of blame R-Truth a little bit for that. I mean, not because he's not been funny, but
did you see the whole thing they done with him when he was in Austria and he thought it was in Australia? And they've done it this week for Raw. Got there a day. That's getting so boring.
Yeah, doesn't help. The match quality itself, loved it. Did you notice the screen went dark at one point?
Yeah, I did. It went dark on quite a few matches.
Yeah, that one was because Dominic was getting called a what we
Yes,
call wanker.
yeah,
over
and
there.
then he was getting the other. He got called the CUN, the other.
Yes,
he got
yes.
called that quite a lot as well. And WWE were like, no, and they thought the English crowd was bad. The Australians, quite a shame.
Yeah. But I actually enjoyed the tag match. Thought it was good, but you're right. A little bit predictable. Gave us a few little sneaky potential teases at the times were going to change, but yeah, I enjoyed it though. I thought it was a good match between the two teams. And
I am here. I'm just charging my laptop.
okay. No, I actually thought it was really good. I enjoyed it. More. I want to see more of it though. I want to see more of Dunn and Bate together. They make a really good team. In terms of where they go, I don't know. You should do what they done over here and write Cabaret and bring Mr. Blobby out.
God. Johnny, what did you make of what's going on in the tag team division? Again, this comes back to what we were saying with the women's division. We grew up in an era, we were so lucky, and I'm not going to make any qualms that people go, we talk about the old days. We grew up with the Heart Foundation and the Legion of Doom and some absolute demolition. Tag team wrestling was, I mean, me and Adam spoke about this, go about 6-7 months ago, so it's a lost art, tag team wrestling. Johnny, I know you appreciate a good tag team. You know, you're growing up with the greatest tag team of all time, in my opinion, the Heart Foundation. What did you make of the tag match at the Elimination Chamber? And what would you do with the division right now? Is it going to be a case of they're just going to throw a team together to go up against the Judgment Day? And do you think that the Judgment Day momentum has just fallen off a cliff?
Well, first off, I enjoyed the match. I thought it was a good wrestling match. It may have been the best just pure wrestling match on the show. I thought it got good back and forth action. I didn't believe Judgment Day was going to lose because, no offense to the New Catch Republic, but they just aren't over yet. I don't think a lot of people knew that they were even a team so much. I know some people like it's SmackDown, that's all they watch, but some people don't watch SmackDown.
Yeah, if you hadn't watched SmackDown in the last 2 weeks, you would never had a clue.
That's it. It's that they weren't really pushed over as like a huge team, and I just didn't believe Judgment Day, the most over team on Raw, and one of the most over factions in all of WWE, maybe even more so than the Bloodline, they were going to lose. Like, if they're going to lose, WrestleMania makes sense for that to happen. To who? That's a great question. Like you say, it feels like there's no tag team that really stands out among the rest. Maybe we get like a four corners tag because that seems to be a tradition of WrestleMania. Just put a bunch of teams in, or a gauntlet kind of style match. If anything, and I know you'll hate this, but R-Truth and The Miz against Judgment Day, just because the story's there and they've been pushing it for so much, I would not be surprised. They love to give Miz his moments. They haven't given him his moment at WrestleMania in a while. And R-Truth, as much as you might hate it, the fans love it every week that R-Truth does something. I could see them do Miz R-Truth against Finn, if Finn can wrestle, because his thumb looked really messed up.
Yeah, God, his thumb went one way. Like,
yeah,
it didn't look good.
But
yeah, I mean,
I think.
Yeah, no. What are you doing with the briefcase, Johnny? How would this? Everyone seems to forget that Damien Priest has got. Me and Adam talk about this every week. And we're like, oh, they didn't do nothing with it. What on earth is this? Just going to be one of the worst Money in the Bank? Is this going to be? Who did we say last week?
Otis.
Remember when he won it on the top of the COVID? When he won it on the top of the building? Is this that Otis-esque kind of thing? What are you doing with the briefcase? Is you gonna? I said if WWE wants ultimate heat, and everyone just going absolutely bananas, Cody wins, and Damien Priest cashes in straight away. Twitter would erupt. But what are you doing, Johnny? How are you doing this cashing with the briefcase?
Well, first, you guys heard that Priest said that he can't cash in on Seth because he's not medically cleared.
Yeah.
So that was the reason, I guess, like when Seth was in the ring and did the promo about how he's hurt and all this, that's why Priest couldn't do it. So, okay, fine. Still weird. I feel like it's not been like that before, but whatever. I feel like the plan always was supposed to be Punk against Seth, and Priest would cash in on Seth during the match. So you get no winner, and that way you could run Punk and Seth again, and Priest would get his moment. That was my original thinking. But now that you're doing Seth and Drew, that's tough because I feel Drew is probably going to win against Seth. But for Priest to cash in, that doesn't help as much in terms of a heel cashing on a heel. unless they're showing Priest's face. I'm not sure. So it's awkward. I don't know what you do. I mean, to do it to Cody, wow, like that would be incredible. I wouldn't mind that moment, but I know a lot of people would mind that moment because a lot of people got mad last year
Finishes
when
the
Cody
story
win.
for all of 2 seconds.
Well, that's it. You finish your story. The story epilogue. Oh, it ended very quickly. That's it. I would love it because I love when you see that in wrestling, just that sudden stab in the back kind of situation. I love it, especially at WrestleMania. That'd be a fantastic ending. But a lot of people would be outraged, and we've seen when people get outraged, WWE turns the corner. So
Yeah, they
I
listen.
don't know if they would do that. If anything, Priest might go all the way to maybe this year's Money in the Bank. Like it feels like he's going to be the longest person to hold the Money in the Bank briefcase. I think.
Cash it in like the week before the event or something. I don't know. Adam, well, let's. I don't know how we're going to cover it. Well, there's one good thing to come out of this: the Grayson Waller effect. Probably Johnny enjoyed it.
No. I say great is not great.
Okay, thank God for that. He done a shoey. He drank out of a shoe. We might potentially now get Rock versus Cody. That was probably the best bit to come out of that whole segment. What did you make of it, Adam? I didn't really. It went on 40 minutes too long, and it went on for 40 minutes. It was, for me, terrible. For me, the crowd seemed dead as well. They had an actual Australian Grayson Waller in the ring, and everyone just seemed to. The crowd just seemed to go flat. No one seemed to care. Even the Cody, what? That didn't seem great for me watching it on TV. Speaking to people that were there, they said, "Hey, I don't think it was London-esque," and I'm going to say that from 5. But Adam, we're going to get Rock versus Cody night 1 at Mania, and then are we getting Roman, or are we getting a tag? Because Seth said you're not going to fight him alone. Are we getting Seth and Cody, Rock and Roman night 1? I think that's maybe where they're going to go. I don't think we're going to get Cody Rock 1-on-1. I don't think that's happening. Could we potentially now see Roman Reigns and The Rock fight night 1 WrestleMania main event against Cody?
Yeah, I think that's where it's going, which is interesting because normally they have one title one night and the other title the second night. But yeah, I think that's where we're going with it, which is cool. Seth did say he's pretty much medically cleared as of today. I think it was, or said he's a couple of days away. I agree with Johnny. I don't quite understand why Priest couldn't cash it in. I thought that was the whole point of having the briefcase, that you can cash it in whenever you want. There's no sort of limitation. So that's another new rule we have to get that they've made for Money in the Bank, which is fine. But yeah, probably get that night 1 and the tag match night 1, and then they'll both defending their titles night 2. The other way, and the other way they could do it, which would cause, and again, more outrage, Andy, but just because we love fantasy booking, is have Seth turn on Cody at night 2 and make him cost Cody the title against Roman.
Interesting. You could have, if they're going in a tag match, you could have the Judgment Day come out halfway through a segment and say, no, we're the tag team champions, we won in this, and then you could have the Judgment Day versus Roman Reigns and The Rock versus Seth and Cody, and you could have Seth and Cody win the tag team title.
And then Priest cash in on the same match, right?
There you go. Could be an absolute cluster. Johnny, how are you seeing how they're playing it with The Rock since he's been back? I mean, I love it. I love heel Rock. I mean, I've got a Brahma Bull tattooed on my arm. I absolutely love the guy. I mean, I know a lot of people are not, oh, he's coming back and he's taking someone's spot. Me and Adam got into that last week. I'm like, WrestleMania, someone always comes back. Let's be honest, he doesn't need to do this. He is the highest grossing Hollywood actor of all time. He could have just gone, no, I'm going to come in and do a segment on the microphone. But by all accounts, he's going to be lacing up his boots. He's going to be wrestling. Probably one of his last matches. I still think Rock and Roman will be his last ever match, and then they'll go into the Hall of Fame next year. How have you enjoyed it since The Rock's come back? I'm absolutely loving heel Rock. He's on SmackDown this coming Friday. That's sold out already. So he's doing his bit. He's The Rock. He's one of the greatest of all time. And all these people out here, oh, he's just come back from Hollywood. Maybe forgot what he's actually given to this business over the years.
Well, I think you guys probably see it the same way I do, where if The Rock's going to be on television, that's appointment viewing. Like, I have to see what The Rock's going to do. No matter if it's just a promo, no matter if it's just like a little segment backstage, whatever, I got to see that because The Rock is one of the most entertaining wrestlers of all time. And his matches might not have been the greatest matches, but I definitely wanted to see what it would be like. because he talked a big talk usually going into the matches. So I want to always see what would happen in the match. Wouldn't be the greatest wrestling match, but I'd be interested in how the story comes to an end. Much like with Cody. I want to see how this all ends for him. And I feel him versus The Rock one-on-one. They never said it's going to happen at WrestleMania. They just said he wants to.
Imagine if they put it on like SmackDown or Raw. That'd be awesome.
Do you both believe that would ever happen?
No,
actually?
never.
Like,
Not a chance in hell is this not being on anything other than WrestleMania. They're going to build it for 8 weeks, and we're going to get it on night one. But yeah, it'd be amazing. I'd love to see it on
night one of Raw on Netflix.
Oh, can you imagine? Yeah, Netflix premiere. We've got right. Yeah, it could be something like that. But I'm enjoying it. What they're doing with The Rock. But going back to the segment on Saturday, Grayson Waller. I don't think it's done anything for anyone really. Apart from what's his name, Vince's boy.
I was disappointed.
Yeah, Austin. The best thing about Austin Theory the weekend, he nearly killed the reporter. Did you see that when he said to him, "Wrestling? Oh, you're just over here doing fake wrestling." I genuinely thought he was going to kill him, and WWE people had to drag him out. I don't know if you saw that clip, Johnny, going around the internet at the weekend. He'd done an interview with Australian press, and the guy interviewing him said to him, "Oh, but wrestling's fake." Wow, probably the worst thing you can ever say to anyone who watches wrestling, Johnny. People like yourself who are involved in wrestling, probably, I always say it's to people, you watch movies, don't you, with Denzel Washington? You watch soaps on TV, it's all entertainment. But what you guys do is generally putting your life on the line every night. Yeah, so he nearly killed this reporter. But yeah, as for the segment, I was glad it was done. I mean, okay, we might get Rock and Cody, we might get a tag team, but it did nothing for this whole event, just in my opinion anyway. Let's move on to the men's chamber match. 2 matches to go. Johnny, I'll come to you first. Drew McIntyre, again, very predictably. I enjoyed the match, very much the same as the women's, really. I enjoyed both the chamber matches. Again, it does what chamber matches done. Hit the spots. Logan Paul was, again, very impressive. Been very, very impressive since he's become full-time WWE superstar, shall we say. Randy Orton sold the back injury really good. Kevin Owens was really good. Bobby Lashley swore like a trooper, and they had to edit half of it out. But I really enjoyed it, Johnny. It was. But the only thing it's left me is, like you said earlier, am I really excited for Drew versus Seth at Mania? And it comes back to what I said earlier. I'm like, no, not really. I'll watch it because it's WrestleMania, and by the time it gets there, it will probably be good, and there might be some stipulations in. But I think that's what Mania might need this year. They might need to throw in steel cage. They might need to throw in a Hell in a Cell. I don't know how they're going to do it. It needs something, because right now I'm sitting here looking, Drew versus Seth, it'll be good. They're both great wrestlers. It'll be a great match. It's WrestleMania. But again, it's just something for this year that hasn't got me on the edge of my seat. I mean, thankfully, we've still got the WWE Network over it. I don't know if I'll be paying £20 to watch WrestleMania this year. But Johnny, what did you make of the men's chamber? You said at the start of the show you preferred it to the women's. They hit some good spots. There was the traditional people going through the pods, etc., etc. I thought it was a good match. But what did you make of it?
Yeah, I thought it was mainly about storytelling, this one. Everyone had their moments. Everyone shined pretty well. It wasn't about like, oh, let's go out and like kill ourselves. It was more about, let's just tell the story. I don't like you. You don't like me. There was 2 heels, so that kind of helped it a little bit. And everyone had their own characters down pretty much established. So I thought it worked out very well. Randy was fantastic, I thought. You thought Randy was actually dying in there. So that was great. And I thought the end was fine too. Like AJ coming in with LA Knight, I'm a little disappointed with that, because to me, LA Knight, Logan Paul, that should have been the match.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we still get that match in a multi-man kind of setup. I could see that. But I really thought LA Knight, Logan Paul, 1-on-1 US title, that's what people I think wanted to see. That's what I wanted to see. Because I think LA Knight needed a moment at WrestleMania to become a champion. He's not going to win the world title, which is unfortunate.
Do you think his momentum's dropped off as well now, Johnny? LA Knight, he's another one that was riding that wave. What, a month ago, Adam, we were talking about it. Why do you think LA Knight's momentum's just suddenly, no fault of his, it just seems the crowd have gone from here to like down here now?
I think what happened with LA Knight was just the fact that he faced Roman too soon. Like he went from what? He won the SummerSlam Battle Royal.
Yeah.
And then I think he had another match or so. And then right away, boom, Roman Reigns. It was too fast. Like you couldn't get behind him quick enough and let him climb his way to the top. You're already against Roman, and then screw him over at the like you can only screw over a guy so much. He's been screwed over what 3 times now. The Saudi Arabia, the Rumble, Elimination Chamber has been screwed over 3 times now. It's hard for people to get behind someone who's always screwed over and never gets the over back.
Adam, what did you make of the men's chamber, mate? We said that we predicted. I think God involved his wife knew that Drew was going to win. I think that put bed to his WWE contract talks. Even though I read something like people tweeting today saying it's still up in the air whether he's going to be staying with WWE. But if they're going to put the strap on him and he's not going to get cashed in on, there's probably a high chance he's going to be a WWE superstar for the foreseeable. What did you make of the match, man? Obviously, yeah, like AJ Styles getting involved. Looks like we're going to get him and LA Knight potentially at WrestleMania. But I'm with Johnny. I still think Logan Paul gets thrown into that mix, and I think that's a 3-way battle for the title. Does Logan drop it at Mania? Probably. I'm guessing. I think to LA Knight, if they're going to do it, he gets it. But Adam, what did you make of the men's chamber? It was okay. Yeah, like I'm with Johnny. It's like good to see people not trying to kill themselves for 1 year. So it wasn't as wild as some chamber matches we've seen. They hit the high spots. I like Logan Paul and his pod drawing his little horns on. I know that was quite fun. That entertained me a little bit. What did you make of it, mate?
Yeah, very, very passable match, and again enjoyed the most parts of it. Again, yeah, the ending was predictable. AJ and LA Knight, yeah, I think that could be a 4-way at Mania. I think you may be looking at AJ, LA, Randy, and Logan, perhaps. You know, they'll have their individual battles maybe before that. Maybe Orton will get screwed out of it somehow, maybe even by AJ. I don't know. Maybe it'll get to, or they'll even do a ladder match. Maybe they might not do Money in the Bank, so maybe they'll, as you say, you may need a stipulation. So
yeah, I think it needs it. I think Mania needs it this year, mate. I really do. I think it's struggling.
Yeah, so you could throw 6 of them into that, and that'll be a ladder match right there. Logan will be good in it. He's yeah. As much as I hate the guy, he's doing. You know, you can't really hate the people that take it seriously and are good at it, and he's a natural. So he done well in that match. The thing about Kevin Sucks also been on the chamber pod and whatever else was nice, and they got thrown through the plastic, not glass.
Bulletproof, by the way.
Bulletproof.
Yeah.
I don't think it was. Yeah, what bullet was that?
Water pistol, I think. But yeah, I don't know, mate. But yeah, it was a solid match. Does Drew versus Seth excite you at Mania?
Yeah, well, not as much as Seth and Punk did, but Drew never won the title in front of a crowd. He always won it in the pandemic.
COVID, yeah.
So there is an option there of giving Drew his moment. It might not last long if Damian Priest decides he's going to cash straight in.
Well, he's involved with that kind of thing with the Judgment Day at the minute, so that's probably potentially, if there is going to be a cash in, that's where it's going to be.
But yeah, the match quality would be good. As I say, it won't have the same thing as Seth and Punk, because that build-up would have been it because of the promo. Seth's already even done another one recently about taking a mick out of him because of like fragile body, fragile mind kind of thing. So it would have been better, but Drew and Seth's probably a good option B.
Let's get to the main event. Rhea Ripley defeating Botchamania, Nia Jax. How the hell this woman is still near a main event is beyond me. I think I counted about 9 botches before the match had really even got underway. She's a terrible wrestler. Should not be anywhere near a main event. How they're pushing, well, not pushing because this was kind of a filler match, but how Nia Jax got this spot is beyond me. And I defended her when she first come back to Raw. For me, though, this match was terrible. I absolutely hated it. I couldn't wait for it to finish. I'm glad Rhea got to celebrate in front of our people, the home crowd, her family were ringside. I get that. That's a moment she's never going to forget. I just feel sorry that she done it against Nia Jax. Johnny, what did you make of the main event of the Elimination Chamber 2024?
I mean, it was what it was in the sense that it just gave Rhea her moment. It was nice it gave her the main event spot. I wasn't expecting much going into this match, and this match pretty much was what I expected it to be. Just Nia going in there. For the most part, she dominated this matchup, and Rhea just came back at the end. I was very disappointed. Her comeback was pretty much just a superplex and a finish. That was disappointing. However, I can understand that if it was more and it was complicated with back and forth false finishes, it probably would have gone off the rails a bit. Because we've seen in Nia's matches, they kind of keep them simple and short. So that's probably the formula that works best in her matches. So doing something kind of more complicated, I think it would probably hurt the match quite a bit. And they just wanted a good moment for Rhea, and that was the best way to do it. So that's awesome for her. And who else could it have been on Raw? They don't exactly have strong heels that you believe could beat Rhea. I feel Nia was the only one going into this, and it's weird because she's supposed to be this huge heel going against Becky. I feel Rhea's going to be the face going against Becky. I feel the crowd's going to turn on her, on Becky.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Adam, what did you make of it, bro? Honestly, I was by the end of it, I was like, pay-per-view seems long, and thank God it wasn't 3, 4 in the morning. I could just finish it and go on with my day. But what did you make of it, mate?
Difficult to watch. Too many errors. But do you know what though? I haven't been too disappointed with Nia since she's come back. There has been a lot of
same. Yeah, it's on Saturday. I was like, oh my God, this is terrible.
Yeah, it was like because she's been relatively decent since she's come back. They booked her in the right way, not doing too much as he said, but yeah, this wasn't great. I'm just hoping that Rhea come out of it unscathed, which she obviously did, which is good because they don't have to change yet another plan on the road to WrestleMania. So all in all, I'm glad that match is finished and Rhea can move on to Becky at WrestleMania.
Yes, very true, very true. Let's give our marks out of 10 as we always do. Adam, Elimination Chamber, marks out of 10, my friend.
5.
Ooh. Johnny?
Wow, 5. I had it at a 7. I enjoyed the Chambers quite a bit. I thought really it lost the marks was the main event and the Grayson Waller effect. But I thought inside the ring, I was pretty much entertained.
Yeah, I went 6, 6.5. I was, just a little bit above Adam, but not, it was okay. I went in with no expectation, which was good. I think when you go in, I think when you watch it doesn't happen that often, but when you watch a Mania or a Rumble that's bad, and you're like, oh man, I really look forward to the Royal Rumble and Mania and SummerSlam, that what we call the Big Four still. You know what I mean? Survivor Series. When they're bad, I'm like, this, I kind of gave it a pass because I kind of knew what I was getting as a fan. Before I felt more sorry for the Australian public because they, like you said, they got no Roman Reigns, they got no Rock, they got no Gunther because of Visa, they got no Brock Lesnar because we know why. But yeah, it was just really, really bad. But Johnny, while you're here, let's get your views on that real quick. I know you guys and Dave at Wrestling Uncensored, you get into everything. Vince McMahon no longer in the WWE. No McMahon associated anywhere with the WWE. What do you make of it?
When I first heard about it, I was like, this is insane. And then you read about it and you're like, this can't be. Like this, how could someone be this cruel to somebody? I don't get it. And you keep reading it and you're like,
it gets worse.
How? Just and like what kind of just I can't believe this is real because why would anyone do something like this to somebody ever? Like I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it. Like, I don't know Vince, never met Vince, but like it's incredible that this happened just a couple of years ago. You just wonder like what happened in those years prior now. Like did this just happen overnight or this just there's been something that's been going on, but he's kept it under the rug, kind of thing.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if the 80s could talk? Oh my God! Some of the things that. Oh my God! So Vince is probably glad certain people are up in heaven right now because there would be a lot of money to be made. Let's just say that. Johnny, it's been great having you back on our show. Like I said at the start, mate, you are the reason I'm sitting here. You and Dave Simon, Wrestling Uncensored, still is my favorite wrestling podcast to listen to. I don't miss it. It's a good nearly 2 hours now. Sometimes you guys are on because I know you're watching AEW while you're on. I can't watch it live on YouTube anymore. So it's like 3 in the morning. But I listened literally the next day. I've listened since show 1, since your very, very first show, Jeremy Prophet back in them days. and obviously yourself and Dave Simon, Dave's brother. Just tell our listeners who might be new to what you guys do over at Wrestling Uncensored. Just tell our listeners that Hitting the Turnbuckle, mate, where they can find you and what you guys have got coming up.
We got the website ringsidereport.net. You can find all our articles, all our shows. It's all at ringsidereport.net. Ringside Report on YouTube as well. It's pretty much where all the shows are located. And you can go to shop ringsidereport.com as well. You can get all our merchandise. You get the shirts that I'm wearing like right now.
Yeah, old school I am. I still call it Wrestling Uncensored.
I'm sorry, what?
How old school I am. I just associate it as Wrestling Uncensored. I always will.
Well, the show is still
called Wrestling, but you're with Ringside Report now. Yeah, it's hard for me to get my head around. But Johnny, I love what you guys do. Always have, always will. Say hi to Dave for me. I hope he's doing well. We'll definitely get both of you back on. You're now our Elimination Chamber guy, so we've booked you already for next year. We'll get Dave back on. We'll have you on way back before then, mate. But keep doing it. Obviously, I know you're up and down the road still. You're actually wrestling, and also you got your full-time job. You're a busy man. But Johnny, honestly, mate, it's been so good to see you again. It's so good to have you on our show, brother. I wish you all the success for 2024, my friend.
Well, you too. It's incredible how you've expanded Hitting the Turnbuckle since I was last on here. Like, your crew has expanded, your coverage has expanded. The Eric Bischoff interview you guys did was fantastic. I think I told you that. It was fantastic. I look forward to the next one you guys do.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. We appreciate it. Yeah, Adam, you were at Progress yesterday, my friend. I was at Apex Wrestling in Milton Keynes. Incredible show that they put on. Really, really enjoyed it. Big thanks to John and everyone down at Apex. Obviously, you hit Progress in London. We've got all our reviews coming up. We've got interviews this week. We'll be back with a Raw review. We've got SmackDown. We've got interviews coming out of our arse. I feel like you want to say something, Adam?
We've got Devon Dudley.
We've got certain Devon Dudley. I don't know if anyone's heard of him. We've got him coming on.
Ken Shamrock.
Ken Shamrock. Anyone heard of him? Got him coming on. We've got some big names coming up over the next weeks and months on Hitting the Turnbuckle. But as always, you can check us out on YouTube. Just type in Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. Twitter at HTT Buckle. Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. Threads, TikTok. You can find us, as I would tell. Thanks to everyone that is subscribing. Thanks to everyone that's giving us great feedback about what we're doing. We're just two dudes who enjoy talking wrestling. But we'll be back later on this week. We'll be back with Raw review, SmackDown review, interviews galore. But make sure you go and check us out. But ladies and gentlemen, big thanks to Johnny North. Make sure you go and check out Wrestling Uncensored. I've been your host, Andy Burrows, and my tag team partner, Mr. Adam Cousins. Till next time, everybody, buckle down.